Victor Osimhen or Harry Kane, who should United sign? The first part of the video is just going to be me doing an in-depth analysis of each player, and towards the end I'll do some other stuff as well. I don't want to make the intro too long, just keep watching the whole video and you'll find out. But before I go any further, let me tell you about something that may interest anyone who is or wants to be a YouTuber, and that is that I will now be open to doing any reviews of any videos or channels that you have. If you are interested in anything below, then email me at atlantisfootball96@gmail.com with the type of review you want and a link to the video or channel you want me to review, and then I can just drop you my PayPal and send you over the review when it's done. If you are just starting out YouTube, then you don't need the detailed video review for any of your first few videos. I'd just go with the standard review, which will be basically my initial reaction to your video, giving you a few improvements that you can make and some things about the video that you should be doubling down on. Also, if you don't have a video but instead have an article or a blog, I'll include that in the standard review as well, so you can send me those as well. Once you're a bit more familiar with producing videos on YouTube, then maybe you can think about the detailed video review or even the whole channel review, where I'll put together a much more detailed review, giving you a lot more suggestions for improvements and providing some examples as well. I assume most of the videos will be football related, though you can also send me over any non-football ones as well if you want. But I'm not going to be reviewing any nerd shit like WWE or Minecraft, so don't send me those types of videos. But if you are interested in any of that, send me over an email, and of course thank you in advance for helping. So Victor Osimhen, absolute demon in front of goal this season. He's hit 19 goals in 21 Serie A games and 21 in 26 in all competitions, including 2 in 4 in the Champions League. And to be honest, even though he has massively improved in the goal scoring department this season, he has had a steady goal scoring progression, scoring 10 goals in 24 Serie A games in 2020-2021, while scoring 14 goals in 27 Serie A games last season. But it's when we look at Osimhen's FB ref report where we can see just why there's so much hype around him. Over the past 365 days, when compared against every other forward in Europe's top 5 leagues and in European competitions, Osimhen ranks in the 99th percentile, which is the top 1% for both his non-penalty XG and his non-penalty goals, scoring 0.93 non-penalty goals per 90 and overperforming his non-penalty XG by a massive 0.23 goals per 90, and he ranks in the 96th percentile for that metric as well. And the thing about Osimhen is that he can score goals in a variety of different ways. He's got the pace, power and movement off the ball to make runs in behind the back line, down the side of a centre back receiving the ball, and he's incredibly good at finishing from narrow angles and wide positions, having power combined with accuracy in his strikes, which allows him to blast the ball past the keeper, arrowing the ball into the corner of the net. But he's also got the poacher-like instinct, which allows him to score from first-time finishes inside of the box, where he's able to use his tall frame with him being 6'1", which combined with his sheer power and movement enables him to get across his defender and use his head to direct the ball past the keeper, or really utilise any part of his body he can to get his long frame on the ball, looking to get the ball into the net any way he can. And he's very similar to Erling Haaland in the sense that both players seem to have a knack of being able to reach balls into the box that you think they just wouldn't be able to reach. But Osimhen is also extremely effective outside of the box as well, able to sit on the last defender and make a run between the opposition's fullback and centre back, receiving the ball in the channel where he's exceptional at holding off the defender, and then having the pace and power to be able to bulldoze his way past the defender into the box where he can then get into a chance creating position. He can also effectively play the role of a target man, dropping off from the forward line, receiving the ball to his feet or into his chest, or even challenge for an aerial duel, which makes him an extremely effective weapon when his side looks to go direct from the build-up. He definitely doesn't have the close ball control or technical ability to play the role of a deep-lying forward or a false 9, in the same way that Harry Kane or even Anthony Martial can, but he's still got the ability to link play when he drops off, and because of his physicality and athleticism, he's even got the ability to roll a defender turning with the ball before driving the attack forward. He's certainly not a creative forward, only ranking in the 44th percentile for his XG assisted, whilst also ranking very low for most of his passing metrics as well. However, I don't really see this as an issue, as this isn't really his game. He's much more of an advanced forward who's going to sit higher up the pitch and look to make runs into the channels and in behind the opposition's backline, whilst also providing a huge threat inside of the box from crossing positions, which is definitely something that I think United need in order to take their attack to the next level, as it's definitely an area where they have struggled this season. And having someone with the power and aerial prowess of Osimhen inside of the box is going to give United the opportunity of scoring even if the opposition camps deep in their defensive third. But Osimhen is also extremely effective from a pressing point of view as well. Luciano Spalletti's Napoli's side do use a high aggressive press, and Osimhen is a key component of this, having the energy and work rate to race around, applying the pressure and being the spearhead to lead the press. He's also exceptional at chasing down loose balls, which is a very underrated attribute amongst attackers, as once you combine his work rate and pressing ability with Osimhen's physicality and athleticism, you now have a centre forward who's got the ability to create chances out of absolutely nothing by allowing you to win the ball high up the pitch in dangerous positions. Harry Kane, on the other hand, is a completely different type of striker to Osimhen. I'd describe Kane as a deep lying forward, even burgeoning on being a false 9, as unlike Osimhen, who prefers to sit high up the pitch, occasionally dropping deep when he needs to receive the ball to feet or into his chest, but mainly the Nigerian's going to be running in behind the back line, whereas Harry Kane is going to be dropping off into the space in behind the opposition's midfield, where he's excellent at receiving the ball to feet, being able to turn away from the defenders in close proximity, and having the vision and passing ability akin to a midfield playmaker. There are very few centre forwards in world football, and even in football history at the top level to be honest, who have the passing ability that Harry Kane possesses. And we can see this from his FB Ref report, as he ranks in the 95th percentile for the amount of long passes he's completed, completing around 60% of the long passes he attempts. But his creative and progressive passing metrics are even more impressive. He ranks in the 88th percentile for his XG assisted, the 88th for his key passes, the 95th for his passes into the final third, and the 88th for his passes into the penalty area, as well as the 96th for his overall progressive passes. He certainly doesn't have the pace like Osimhen does to provide those runs into the channel, but in terms of what he offers in terms of ball progression and chance creation from deeper positions, you'd have to say that Harry Kane might just be the most creative centre forward in world football at the moment, and the fact that he ranks in the 97th percentile for his through balls and the 92nd for his switches of play lends even more statistical evidence to this argument. So just by looking at the analytics, we can see that Osimhen is definitely more of an advanced forward target man, who is physically strong and athletically quick, capable of running into the channels and holding the ball up, but is also capable of being used as a target man to receive vertical passes into his feet, chest or into his head, whilst also providing elite level goal scoring output, whereas Harry Kane is definitely more of a deeper lying forward, bordering on a false 9, as instead of running the channels and providing a threat in behind the back line, Kane is going to provide his threat from in front of the back line, dropping off and receiving the ball between the lines and in space, and at times being the side's main advanced playmaker, whilst players around him like Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes and Antony all provide runs ahead of the ball off of Harry Kane's deeper movement. So you can either have the threat in behind the backline with Osimhen, or the creativity in front of the backline with Harry Kane. In terms of what both players offer without the ball, I would definitely say that Osimhen is the better pressing forward, just having greater energy and athleticism when it comes to chasing loose balls down, being the man to trigger an aggressive press with a burst of energy, whilst also just providing a physical threat throughout the game does give him a certain advantage over Harry Kane. So when analysing Kane and Osimhen, whilst I would say that both are at that world class level, they are completely different type of centre forward, so you have to question, but what type of centre forward do Ten Hag and Manchester United actually need? Well, this season Ten Hag has seemed to favour a deeper line forward, with both Weghorst and before him Martial dropping off from the forward line to link the play with their back to goal, most of the time with their feet, with quick one-touch passes to lay the ball off and link the play. And so when choosing your centre forward, you are effectively choosing whether you want to create space for your team between the lines of the opposition system, behind the midfield but in front of the defensive line, or in behind the defensive line itself. If Harry Kane was Ten Hag's centre forward, this would benefit the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford by creating space in behind the opposition's back line for them to make runs into. Kane drops off from the forward line if the opposition centre back decides to hold his position and not vacate space in the defensive line, and this is going to give Kane the opportunity to receive the ball and turn. But if the centre back follows Harry Kane, this is also going to cause the opposition problems, as it's going to leave a massive space between the other centre back on the other side and the full back on the near side, and so it's going to allow the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford the opportunity to make these diagonal and short bursted runs in behind the opposition back line, looking to receive through balls from Kane or one of the deeper midfielders to find their runs with through balls, looking to create 1v1 high value goal scoring opportunities. Whereas if Osimhen's a centre forward, he's effectively going to pin both centre backs backwards in the back line, creating space in front of the opposition's back line in behind their midfield. And so rather than the centre forward being the player to drop off from the forward line and receive the pass from deep, because Osimhen retains a higher position up the pitch, this is going to allow someone like Jadon Sancho or Bruno Fernandes to drop into the space and receive the ball. And most of the time, because opposition teams won't want Osimhen isolating one of their fullbacks, both centre backs will likely stay deep with Osimhen, which is going to create more space for those players in front. And so you can see that the way United will progress the ball from the middle to the final third will change depending on what style of centre forward they have, and I do think that both could work, although it would change the roles of the players around them. So now let's look at who would benefit in the United attack from either Kane or Osimhen being the centre forward. Well, we'll start with United's most important attacking player at the moment, which is Marcus Rashford, and I think he'd definitely benefit from having Harry Kane as a centre forward, as just intuitively you can see that Rashford's movement in behind the back line would be perfectly suited to Kane's movement in front of it. Kane drops off from the forward line, dragging a centre back with him, and Rashford loves being a final phase player. He's not the sort who wants to drop off between lines and receive the ball to feet. Instead, he wants to be the forward, making the runs in behind the back line and getting into goal scoring positions, and having Harry Kane, who's essentially an advanced playmaker, not only creating the space for Rashford to make those diagonal runs into, but also having the ability to receive the ball turn and find Rashford with his exquisite through balls. And because Rashford is so stylistically similar to Heung-min Son, with both being what I would describe as wide forwards, I think Kane would also work perfectly with Marcus Rashford. However, I do think Rashford could work with Osimhen as well. It would just be that the right-sided forward in the front three would have to be capable of moving infield and receiving the ball between the lines in central positions. As with both Marcus Rashford and Osimhen stretching the opposition's backline with their advanced positioning, there's going to be more space between the opposition's midfield and defensive lines, and this is where the advanced central midfielder and the right winger come into play, as we have seen Bruno Fernandes deployed as a right winger, but having Osimhen and Rashford making the runs in behind the backline would give him the space to move infield. And so rather than Harry Kane, the centre forward, being the side's main advanced playmaker, it would instead be someone like Bruno Fernandes or Jadon Sancho. And so having Osimhen as a centre forward would suit both Jadon Sancho and Bruno Fernandes, and even Amad Diallo as well. Whereas I think Anthony, who's much better when he's making runs in behind the backline rather than receiving the ball between the lines, would definitely work better with a centre forward like Harry Kane, who can drop off and create that space for both him and Rashford to make runs into. And so realistically, from a stylistic point of view, I think both Kane and Osimhen would suit this United side equally. There would just need to be a few tactical adjustments made around them. And so it basically comes down to who do I think will make United a better team. And so even though I would still love Harry Kane at Manchester United, and I'd love to see how him and Rashford both link up, given that Harry Kane's going to cost 80 to 90 million pounds anyway, I would go for Osimhen at around 100 to 110 million pounds. And there are a few reasons why I've just decided to go with Osimhen over Kane. The first reason really is a tactical reason, and that is that I think Osimhen is better suited to what a modern forward needs to be than Harry Kane's style of striker, which definitely has been the optimal style of centre forward, that deep line forward who can drop off to link the play, really over the last decade and a half or so. Think the likes of Luis Suarez, Robert Lewandowski, Karim Benzema, etc. But now, because of how good not just the top level teams but also the mid-table and lower table teams are at pressing aggressively high up the pitch, means that more sides are going to be looking to go long in an attempt to bypass the opposition's high pressure, rather than always resorting to having to play a series of short passes through the opposition's press, which obviously can be very dangerous if you lose a ball. Whereas if you have a physical striker who's capable of receiving the ball to his feet, chest, or even winning aerial duels, that gives you an outball. And so if you are struggling to play out of an opposition's press, which Ten Hag's side are inevitably going to face throughout next season, and if you also have centre backs and a goalkeeper who are very good long passes of the ball, you can have them ping a long ball forward into Osimhen. And unlike Kane, who prefers to receive the ball to feet and then look to turn into space, Osimhen is going to have the ability to challenge defenders, getting up and using his chest to hold up the ball, and then also having the awareness to lay the ball off for on-running deeper players. Or he can even provide ball progression on his own, driving the ball forward and using his physicality and power to carry the ball down the flank into the final third. And if we briefly glance back at his FB ref report, we can see this from his possession metrics, that he ranks in the 63rd percentile for his successful take-ons, the 70th for his overall progressive carries, and the 85th for his carries into the penalty area. And so whilst Kane would be able to provide ball progression and chance creation through dropping deep and using his passing range to advance the play and threading through balls in order to create chances, Osimhen is instead going to provide ball progression via his carries up the pitch. I also think Osimhen's physicality, aerial ability and predatory-like instincts inside the box also makes him hugely appealing for Ten Hag's side. as United definitely struggle a lot more when they have to break down a side in their defensive third, and having a target man like Osimhen means they'll be able to put crosses into the box and be able to aim for a striker who is truly elite at getting on the end of these types of crosses and scoring from these chances. In a dream world, maybe if Alex Ferguson was still in charge in the 2020s, I'd love to see United sign both Osimhen and Kane and play him as a front two, with maybe Bruno Fernandes moving into a narrow position from the right, and Rashford be able to make diagonal runs in behind the back line into the space vacated when Kane drops off. But obviously this would be hugely expensive, so it's probably only possible if Qatar take over, and even then United do have other areas that they do need to be strengthening. But I definitely think further down the line, maybe in January 2024 or the summer of 2024, United should potentially be looking at bringing in another top level centre forward, maybe someone like Ivan Toney who could come and partner Osimhen for specific games and during different stages of games as well when United are chasing a goal. I do think he's worth the money. So that's my verdict. I would be happy with Harry Kane at Manchester United as well. If I had to choose out of Osimhen and Kane, I'd probably narrowly just go with Osimhen. So let me know which of the two centre forwards you would take at United. You can find my analysis video of Harry Kane at Manchester United, which will be linked in the description. Give the video a like and subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so you do get notified when my videos come out. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more content as well.